Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the compact, reliable, and battle-proven rifle, the Mark 18. Let's get straight to the video. Starting off, we're just going to talk about what the Mark 18 is. It is a 5.56 carbon gas system, 10.3-inch short barrel rifle. Which, yes, in this video we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of having a short barrel rifle and how to deal with that with the NFA. But first, let's talk about the Mark 18 build that's featured in the video. Talking about the rifle itself and the accessories on it, you have the rifle itself being around $2,300 as of right now. The scout on it is around $300, EOTech $600, and obviously the Dead Air Sierra 5 suppressor is around $900. That being said, your total is coming to around $4,500 with this rifle that was pre-built. Now the guy did buy it pre-built, so all that came with the rifle itself. It also included a 2-pound trigger upgrade, the ambi charging handle, and the ambi safety selector. Before we talk about the pros and cons of the Mark 18, I want to talk about how the gun felt to shoot. More specifically, let's focus on the 3 words described by a random Google search to describe this gun. That being compact, reliable, and battle-proven. Now, compactability is really great with these SBRs, short barrel rifles, because with the 10.3-inch barrel, it's very small. You can probably use it as a truck gun or a gun in your backpack, depending on if you have a folding stock adapter or not. But that being said, it did feel compact. It felt close to my body. I didn't have to have my arm all the way out front like you typically would need to do with a 16-inch barreled rifle. Now, talking the reliability piece, I do like the rifle because it is very reliable. I've put a couple hundred rounds through it over the couple days I shot it, and not one malfunctioned. And I know that isn't necessarily in a test to how reliable it is, because these guns go through thousands of rounds before they can be, described as reliable. But that being said, other rifles may malfunction very quickly, and I've done my research behind the Mark 18, and it has shown to be proven very reliable. Now, battle proven, I don't necessarily know much about it. I know different militaries use it, different police departments use it across the world, and they say it's battle proven or it works for them. So I'll leave that one up in the air for you guys to decide. Shooting this rifle, you have a lot of control of the rifle itself. Typically with 16-inch barreled rifles or longer than that, you can put your arm straight out and you still have all that rail or rifle to deal with, to manage. Pull in tight to you and just bear down with it. With the 10.3-inch Mark 18, your rifle is basically here at the end of it. You have all that rail. There's no rail right there. You have it all controlled with your support hand. You can just pull it into your shoulder, rip those rounds down range. And for me personally, it's just a little bit easier to get a sight picture when I'm compacted and bared down like that with the 10.3 compared to the 16-inch. Now, in the prone, 10.3 inch is going to be a little bit snappier because it doesn't have that longer barrel to push that gas out. But that being said, I did find it a little bit easier to control the 10.3 inch just because it's shorter and you can pull it in. You can control the rifle just that much better. Shooting the Mark 18 suppressed versus unsuppressed is not that big of a difference. Yes, you can shoot it without ear pro, and yes, there's very little blowback, especially with the suppressor, because it pushes the gas out a little bit more. But that being said, we're not going to go too deep into the suppressor of it. That'd be a different video. But just note that this gun with the suppressor is probably how a lot of military police officers run it, because you got that short compact rifle, and also you could throw a suppressor on it, and you don't have that extra inch or two that could be, bumped in the doorway or stuff like that while you're clearing or moving through buildings. When talking about the cons of the Mark 18, typically what gets brought up is the size of the barrel and the price itself. Now, with the size of the barrel being 10.3 inches long, it's going to be a little bit snappier, a little bit louder, and the blowback into your face is going to be a lot more. With that being said, most people do grab a suppressor for these rifles to mitigate everything I just said. But with the rifle itself at 10.3 inches, if you're shooting it by itself, you got to understand that's going to be a little bit snappier. It's going to be a little bit louder. That's why you shoot with ear pro. And it's also, you're going to have some blowback coming into your face because the rifle is only basically 10 inches away from your face. Next, When shooting this rifle, obviously it's not made for longer distance. If you look at Dane Defense site, most like special operation units use it. Police departments use it because of its short barrel. It's smaller, it's compact. It's used for like close quarters battle or stuff like that. So with the shorter barrel, shooting further out is definitely going to be not a problem, but you're gonna have to practice that. With a 16-inch barrel, you got a lot more accuracy when you're shooting a little bit further. But with that 10.3-inch barrel, you lose a little bit of accuracy when you're going, going past 100, 200 meters. So just keep that in mind. Now, the overall price for this gun, the Mark 18 specifically, not necessarily the entire build, but the Mark 18 is, you seen over $2,000. Now maybe you find a deal here and there, so less than $2,000, but the gun is gonna run you about $2,000, and that's just for the rifle itself. No optic, no light, no charging handle, no trigger job, no suppressor. So, like I said before, everything encompassing with this rifle was around $4,500. So be prepared to spend a little bit of money, especially when purchasing a Dane Defense, because you're just gonna buy the rifle for about $2,000. You still have to buy other things for the rifle itself. With all that being said, let's get to the pros of this rifle. When talking about the pros of the Mark 18, the number one pro has to be you just look cool. Having a Dane Defense, yes, it's expensive, but most people want a Dane Defense. Most people don't want to buy a Dane Defense because of the price. But all in all, you look cool having and shooting this gun. The second thing I'll say is it is reliable. Dane Defense has proven it to be reliable, not only in the military community or police community, but also civilian side. So you got that pro as well. With this gun specifically, you also have the ambi safety selector and also the ambi charging handle. Just a nice little touch for the lefties out there in the world, that everything's just a little bit different for them. A big thing with this rifle is it is a short barrel rifle. It's huge for like police officers, military, clearing places, clearing buildings, room. It's easier to manage inside of a building or workspace with a shorter rifle. Even when you throw a suppressor on it, it's still shorter than a regular 16-inch barrel. All in all, it was a cool and fun gun to shoot. The Mark 18, yes, it's expensive. Yes, it's NFA regulated item, but also you look cool shooting it and you have fun shooting it, especially when it's suppressed. Now that suppressor wasn't mine. I'm gonna be having my own suppressor on the channel here soon, so stay tuned. But that entire setup was definitely good, all down to the Surefire Scout light on it. It was a very nice gun. Would I have paid for $4,500 for it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But that being said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, show love to the channel, show love to the Instagram page, and peace.